Hello everyone, this is Moduli Stack, and I have here QXC versus Liquid HuK. So, two of my favorite players in this Terran versus Protoss. If you have been watching for my casts and not seeing any, I sincerely apologize. I have been so busy. What happened is, just since the start of January, the amount of stuff I've had to do has just been building up and building up and building up, and I've been handling it and handling it and handling it, and I just finally hit complete overload. So I had to make some sacrifices in the last week, and one of those sacrifices was not doing as many casts as I would like to be doing, but hopefully I will be resolving that in the future. Let's see, other news. I have these great fingerless gloves now. Very, very warm fingerless gloves that I can use while playing StarCraft in my cold, cold Berkeley room. My girlfriend made these for me, or sorry, she didn't make them. She gave them to me for Valentine's Day, which was really, really quite sweet, actually. So, barracks going down here by QXC. Notice this little shape here. This is to make sure that zealots cannot get in through this side very easily. Always good to do stuff like that, just in case you're getting proxy 2-gated. It doesn't happen very often, but when it does and your buildings are in the wrong place, man, you feel stupid. Meantime, ordinary looking tech build going down for Liquid HuK. I think this, yeah, everything looks normal here. Cool pylon placement here to spot out here for drops, just a little bit. Of course, it is a weak point to have this pylon out here, so not necessarily the best thing, but obviously HuK really wants to know about drops. But yeah, that pylon can get picked off by some units out here pretty easily. Cybernetics core and second gas. Very, 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 very fast second gas on 17. I think he might have even had to cut probes to get that second gas out. Anyway, orbital command going down for QXC. So QXC, one of my favorite Terran players. He's among Western Terran players, I think he's really one of the most, if not the most articulate player I've ever seen. And as an example of this, you can see that he's already moving out across the map with one Marine. Just this really nice little stuff. This kind of movement is, it's just good. You can catch probes out, you can get scouting information, you can see proxy pylons, and you can even put some pressure on. For example, HuK did skip a zealot. Of course, he's chrono boosting out this stalker, so as a matter of fact, after spending all this time saying how good sending out this early Marine was, QXC actually just loses it without really getting anything in exchange. But he does know now that HuK skipped a zealot and went directly for a stalker, and that probably is an indication to him that the second gas came earlier, or that there's maybe a second gateway out. So second gateway is on the way. No tech choices yet for HuK. Nothing going down quite yet. And okay, QXC teching up somewhat, has a Hellion out with a factory. No second gas though, so he's probably thinking of expanding pretty soon, and he's going to get a concussive shell and some infantry. Not completely sure. I guess this bunker is just because stalkers... Yeah, stalkers are pretty annoying until this concussive shell is up. He'll probably salvage this almost right away, but I guess this was just a reaction to seeing the stalker out, knowing that some stalkers are in the field, and could just charge up and kite his Marines all day. Meantime, HuK is going for another gateway, third gateway, and a robotics facility. So this is a kind of beefy build from HuK. Not really as much of the sort of Mana or Artosis style where you go for a very fast robotics and then your second gateway. But, you know, still a robotics on one base, and he's going to have plenty of units to fight off any aggression from QXC. Although this is a very cute little force. A couple Hellions, a few Marines, and just one Marauder out. No, another one wandering around, just taking his own path for some reason. He's going for Stim, because Stim is the best upgrade in the entire game. Has a reactor there, and is going to expand with a second gas. And here comes the engagement. HuK moving up with a bunch of stalkers. This is smart of HuK because you can pull back before they take any hull damage. Like right there. Ooh, but he is going to lose that one stalker. And he should be careful not to take hits from these Marauders because that concussive shell is pretty annoying. But really great micro here from HuK, and he's definitely getting the better of QXC in this engagement, I think. It's very tricky. Marauders do so much damage to stalkers, but there's just overwhelming forces from HuK here, pulling back the wounded ones pretty well. Yeah, nice play from both players there, but I'm pretty sure that HuK came out ahead, and indeed, ahead by several hundred resources in terms of the units lost. So HuK with a definite advantage, although certainly the game is very far from over. Third barracks, and what is this? It's a starport going up for QXC. So with this focus on infantry, I would expect to see some medevacs, possibly. Of course, there's a lot of other things he could do. Medevacs seems like a smart move. Combat shield is also on the way. So yeah, definitely thinking about infantry. And he will need to be able to push out against this force of HuK's in order to lift his command center. And I really like this, actually, from HuK, this kind of stalker pressure. A lot of Protoss have been complaining in this matchup. Oh, losing his stalker, too bad. A lot of Protoss have been complaining in this matchup that it's very hard to deal with Marine Marauder pressure early on from their opponent. So HuK is sort of turning the tables here by using these stalkers and this observer to get some shots in on the high ground, and actually the situation is reversed from what we normally see in TVP, namely that HuK is able to freely get his expansion up, while QXC is not able to lift his command center yet to the low ground, although pretty soon, very, very soon, this stalker force is not going to be enough to deal with what QXC has. Bringing up some sentries, and that is very good because Guardian Shield is awesome against Marines, but oh no, HuK is over-engaging a little bit. QXC wants to go down the ramp because he can just about take this out, but the medevacs are out now, and that is going to be his signal to start being a little more aggressive with these infantry. Look at this dance back and forth. Really amazing here. HuK, not really, no player really sure how to engage or whether they want to engage. HuK taking some unnecessary shots, but just doing a good job keeping the pressure on. And here, like a smart player, just pulls back, you know, puts on so much pressure, but now he's got his expansion up, and he can just pull all the way back here and start defending. Now, the big question for this stage in the game for a Protoss player is how are you going to deal with the growing Marine Marauder forces? And we see exactly how he is going to deal with that. He's going to go for Colossi. Now, these are not the fastest Colossi. Scan there, taking out observer. These are not the fastest Colossi, but, well, I don't know what I was going to say there, but something. Because these are not the fastest Colossi, HuK is going to be pretty vulnerable for the next minute or so until he's really got 2 Colossi up. He's going to feel a little bit shaky if QXC really starts pumping out Marine Marauder and just goes for some huge bust. HuK is going to have a big, he's going to have, sometimes you just start talking and you aren't really sure how to finish the sentence. He's going to have a big problem. That's what I'm trying to say. QXC, though, turtling up a bit himself, might be scared of Immortals. And as a matter of fact, I'm kind of surprised that HuK didn't make any Immortals. Just 1 or 2 would do a whole bunch in ensuring the survivability of this Stalker force against so many Marauders from QXC. And is this going to be the big push? Yes, it is. So QXC, reading my mind, this is exactly the timing that he wants to hit. Basically, HuK is being forced to invest in this Robotics Bay and Thermal Lance, and this Colossus, he's just going to have 1 Colossus out, so that Colossus is going to be very vulnerable to target firing if HuK is not perfect with the control. I would think he might want to have the Colossus up here. On the other hand, then HuK can attack from this direction, or QXC rather. Going forward, okay, he's sending 1 Marine forward to see what's going on. He's going to see that Robotics Bay and the Colossus and the Thermal Lance upgrading, and I think he's going to realize, hey, wait a second, HuK got Colossi kind of late because he was putting all this pressure on, so I should try to do some damage now while I still can. This won't necessarily end the game, but it could be very painful for HuK. Oh no, cutting off a few Marauders, though. Really nice use of sentries. Guardian Shield is up, and QXC definitely definitely getting the worst of that engagement. So HuK just playing phenomenally right now, just nailing that transition and still being really well protected with lots of Stalkers and Guardian Shield in this phase. For some reason, somebody is pinging this part of the map. I don't really know why replays record the pings from observers, because as experience has shown us, observers often ping random stuff for absolutely no reason. A couple of Vikings already out for QXC. Now, I'm pretty terrible at Terran, but I'm always impressed when these Terran players just smoothly transition into Vikings without, you know... Okay, here's the big push from HuK. Only one Colossus, interestingly enough, but I think the Thermal Lance is done. Yes, it is. And +1 weapons just finishing now, so... Oh, EMP's coming off. I forgot to point out earlier that Ghosts were going out into play. That was probably one of the big reasons that QXC's push was weaker than it felt like it should have been, because he invested heavily in Ghosts, and Ghosts are a huge, huge investment. As Idra puts it, 150 Vespene gas a pop, and ooh, taking out some forces over here. Didn't see if there was medevac or something. Now he's going to pick off this and expand to the gold, which is really always the right move on this map when you have this kind of map control. Just push out, take the gold, and then use the income from the gold to keep your unit count up and maintain map control. Looking at the army tab, HuK definitely in the lead in supply. Third command and center also going up for QXC, who is probably also going to want to take his gold to match HuK's income, and also a planetary fortress here is just annoying to deal with.